All right, AI, machine learning, deep learning. You hear these words thrown around everywhere, right? But what do they actually mean? Let's break it down. Super simple.
Okay, so here's the big question. Are they all the same thing? Nope. But honestly, the way they relate to each other is way simpler than you might think once you see it.
You just have to think of them like a set of Russian dolls. You know, those wooden dolls that stack neatly one inside the other. That's it. That's the whole secret to understanding this.
So let's start with the biggest doll, the one on the outside. That's artificial intelligence, or AI. This is the big, broad idea of making any machine seem smart, making it mimic human intelligence in some way.
But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Not all AI actually learns. A lot of the early stuff, what we might call good old-fashioned AI, was just based on simple rules. Think about it. If this happens, then do that. A perfect example is something like tax software. It's following a massive rulebook that a human programmed into it. It's smart, sure, but it's not learning anything new.
So, if that's AI that doesn't learn, what about the AI that does? Well, that brings us to the next doll inside. Let's talk about machine learning. This is where things get really interesting. See, machine learning is all about giving computers the ability to learn directly from data without a human having to explicitly program every single little rule. So how does it pull this off? Well, you feed it a ton of data, it starts to see patterns and adjusts itself, and over time, it gets better and better at its job. You see this every single day. Think about your Netflix recommendations. The more you watch, the smarter it gets at suggesting shows you'll actually love. That's machine learning in action.
All right, let's get to the very center, the smallest but maybe the most powerful doll in our set, deep learning. This is basically a supercharged, souped-up version of machine learning.
So what's the deep all about? It's about layers. Lots and lots of layers. A shallow network might have one hidden layer for analysis. A deep network has many, all stacked up. The first layer might spot simple things like lines and colors. The next layer sees shapes. Put them all together and it can recognize an entire face in a photo. It's that depth that lets it see really, really complex patterns.
This whole idea is actually inspired by how our own brains work. And this is the magic that's powering all the coolest stuff you hear about. Self-driving cars recognizing pedestrians? That's deep learning. ChatGPT understanding what you're asking? Yep, deep learning. An AI beating the world's best player at a super complex game like Go? You guessed it, deep learning. Okay, let's put it all together real quick. AI is the whole field, the big idea of smart machines. Inside that, you have machine learning, which is AI that learns from data, like your Netflix suggestions. And inside that, you have deep learning, using those deep, brain-like networks to do amazing things, like power self-driving cars. So just remember those Russian dolls. It's this simple. AI is the big umbrella. ML is a subset, and deep learning is the subset of ML.
So there you have it. Now you know the real difference. And it makes you wonder, right? With this kind of technology that can learn and see the world in such a complex way, what are we going to build with it next?